Well, speaking of blood and gore, nice little segue there. Let's talk about Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah.
We're going back. I feel like we're progressively going back further and further into history here.
Yeah.
Vlad the Impaler. I mean, let's just start off with, we both have traveled to Transylvania before.
No, I've only been to...
You've been to Romania.
I've been to Romania.
Okay.
I've been to where Vlad... the part of Romania that he came from, but I've only been to like coastal Romania. I've never been up to the mountains before.
Okay, well, as I told you about before, one of my favorite places in the world is CBU, Romania.
I know you got me all amped on it,
yeah,
bro.
it's so nice there, but that whole Transylvania region is really cool. And again, kind of that that theme of like creepy forest and gets the imagination going. Transylvania.
They haven't cut those forests down like they have.
Those are some ancient forests. Yeah. So, who is Vlad the Impaler?
Yeah, Vlad the Impaler, as we know him, and who's this loose basis of Count Dracula. He was a Wallachian prince. Wallachia is one of the two kingdoms that merged into modern day Romania, but it was an old kingdom, and he was at that time, it was a vassal state of the Ottoman Empire. So he grew up in the court. I don't remember who Mehmet II of the Ottoman Empire, who was the prince of the Ottoman Empire. I don't remember who his father's was, but he grew up in Mehmet II's father's court.
Well, his father was probably Mehmet.
Might have been. I don't know.
There was Mehmet II.
There was only a few names they were using. It was Osman, Mehmet.
I'm just saying, if he was Mehmet II, then his dad was probably Mehmet.
I don't know. It could have been. It could have skipped a generation. They took on different names. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there was quite a few Osmans because Osman I was the founder of what we know to be the Ottomans.
Okay.
But yeah, Vlad grew up with Mehmet II. They were generally the same age. They were pals growing up, basically. They were both of royal birth, and they hung out with each other. They played together. They did boy things together, and playing baseball. That's what you do as a boy.
Or impale things.
Yeah. But, those Wallachians, all people were back then, but those Wallachians were uniquely hard people. But anyways, Mehmet II took the throne of the Ottoman Empire, I believe, when he was like 20 years old. Very young.
Very young. Wow.
And right around that time, Vlad's father died, and he went back to take over in Wallachia there. Well, Mehmet II is most famous for... he was the first Ottoman that took Constantinople. You had years of Ottoman rulers attempting to be the ones that were going to take Constantinople, which truly was the last of the Roman Empire. Roman Empire didn't end in the 400s AD. The Western Roman Empire did, but the true Roman Empire was still going relatively strong in the Byzantine Empire. And Constantinople was the center of the Byzantine world. And you
can go there today, Constantinople, modern day Istanbul. There's a whole song about that.
Yeah, right.
If you go there and visit there, they have multiple rings of wall. It was a very fortified city within a fortified city within a fortified city.
Yes.
And you can kind of, as you go through these, you see these massive walls that are still there today that you travel through. If you're going from like Istanbul airport down to like the old town where like the Blue Mosque and all of that are, you go through these multiple, it's like you're going back further and further into time because each ring, it's fascinating. And
Mehmet was the one that was the first Ottoman to finally, the first person to bust through that last ring. And because he hired a Hungarian fella, I believe, who had essentially created this super cannon, and he put those cannons to use and busted down those walls. And there was a long siege, but for the first time, the Ottomans had finally taken Constantinople. It was theirs, and that was really the birth of the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah,
like that's when the Ottoman
we would know all the way up through World War I. Right?
Yes, and people forget we speak of Rome. We speak of Rome and all and the Mongols and all these other empires.
Feels like we kind of skip over the Ottoman Empire a little bit.
The Ottomans were players in world history. They had one of the most diverse empires of any of them. They had all sorts of Jews and Christians and all sorts of different ethnicities and Muslims. But anyways, yeah. So the Ottomans, they take Constantinople. There's a period of where Mehmet enjoyed that, and he's like, let's keep going into Europe. And then it ended up with him facing off with his old pal Vlad. And Vlad, he's painted, I think, as this hero of the Christian world who stopped this, evil Muslim invasion, which Mehmet's invasion had less to do with, trying to disrupt Christian activities or take the Christian world over, and more to do with just expanding his empire.
Power and ambition.
Yeah. I mean, still to this day, Turkish Muslims are relatively moderate compared to other parts of the Muslim world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you had this giant Turkish Ottoman Muslim army that was realistically really threatening the rest of Europe, and they were going into Wallachia. Vlad was ruthless in his way of dealing with it. He not only was ruthless in the way he treated the Ottoman soldiers and, impaling them and all the things we know him for, but shit, he was burning crops in his own country to starve, just so he could starve out the Ottomans. He was literally basically condemning his own people to death, just to stop the Ottomans.
If we can't have it, nobody's gonna have it.
That's precisely what was happening. Yeah. So I mean, that was a whole ordeal. He ended up dying.
How did he die?
He was backstabbed, if I'm not mistaken. God, I don't want to say this with confidence, and I'm sure there's somebody watching this that's like screaming at me, not because they know and I'm not saying this properly, but he was essentially backstabbed, if I'm not mistaken, by his wife or his sister, somebody close in his circle. Yeah,
the old et tu Brute situation.
Yeah. I could be completely, but because I ingest so much information at once at times that
you're trying to keep Vlad the Impaler separate from Leif Erikson, separate from Cornwall, and
because of this thing when I'm researching in the moment, I'm totally in it, and then I can write and I can process everything, and then after I'm done writing, I can recite the work. But I'm doing one subject a week.
Yeah, I feel similarly, like, in preparing for these episodes, trying to make sure that I'm an informed interviewer, so that I can have intelligent conversation, ask intelligent questions. I do a decent amount of research, and even back in my journalism work, where you do these deep dives into one specific story, but then you're moving on to something that might be completely different. That's why a lot of journalists, they'll have a specific beat so that they can stay in there. But I never really had a specific beat.
And that's what makes you a subject matter expert.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. When you own a beat, then you can, really do that. Like our mutual friend, Jared Keller, who I want to get on the show at one point, like he just owns the laser beat. That guy is all over all things lasers. He runs this Substack called Laser Wars. And he's somebody that, like, you're not going to find another person. I bet even people that develop are doing R&D on lasers probably don't know the breadth of what he knows on just all things lasers. I think it's really interesting stuff.
I'm going to confirm. I'm going to embarrass myself. I'm going to get ahead of the embarrassment if I'm wrong.
Yeah, we'll just do a little in progress fact check.
Yeah. Actually, why am I going to I should just be using ChatGPT, right?
I guess so.
Speaking of AI, I mean, that'll give me a quick, and what's crazy is I've researched this in the time period that I was doing it pretty extensively. And now it's also, how did Vlad the Impaler die? Okay. The Impaler.
The Impaler.
Yeah, I think the more common thing is that he was murdered by nobles. Yeah, there was some sort of conspiracy.
Somebody wanted him gone off the throne.
Now I'm thinking who the hell was the one that got sold out by their sister? Yeah, could have been him.
Yeah. Well, how do you when we think about like the real politics of that time and who Vlad was in the warfare and all of that, how do we separate like what the real history is and what sort of the stuff that gets associated with the myth of Dracula? Is there any sort of crossover, do you think, between the two things, or
brutality?
Yeah.
There's obviously religion infused into the Dracula stories. There's a religious context there. It's very little similarity.
Like I'm sure Vlad the Impaler did not sleep in a coffin or, drink blood or anything.
No,
like
he
that.
was just a ruthless guy.
Yeah. That's somebody that you would maybe put in the same league as like a Genghis Khan or somebody like that. That was just.
Yeah, he was quite more often on the defensive where Genghis Khan was on the offensive. But he was a product for the time and area that he came from.
Yeah. Well, do you think that?
But there's I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I mean, for an Anglo or Western European, especially back then, but it's still the case to this day. Like Eastern Europe is still a very mysterious and can be a scary place to, if you're a Parisian or from London, there's something scary about, a place like Romania and those mountains and their old ways of doing, kingmanship.
Yeah, and like you said, just a rougher people.
Yeah.
I think that's a theme
they were backwoods,
yeah.
And they were Orthodox. They weren't, I don't think they were Catholic. They were Orthodox, so that adds an extra layer of mysteriousness there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think that, with what he was doing, some of those brutal tactics like impaling people, and you see some of the imagery when you look this up, it's like they really, I think, dramatize it most likely, but you can kind of imagine what it would look like back then after one of these things happened where he's trying to make an example. Do you think it was, despite how horrifying it was, do you think it was an effective tactic back then with the way people were?
The Ottomans definitely got the best. I mean, the Ottomans.
It didn't slow them down.
No, I mean, it slowed them down, but the Ottomans ended up having a significant chunk of Europe regardless.
Yeah. So it was all, a cool party trick, basically.
Yeah.
It didn't really.
Dude, again, the Ottomans were like very accomplished and they don't get enough play as far as like the amount of land that they had and the different types of people that they were overseeing.
Yeah.
Because you have a European Muslim kingdom in its roots that's overseeing a bunch of European Christians, a bunch of Arab Muslims, which the Arab Muslims and the European Muslims, that's religion is the only thing they have in common.
Yep.
And it wasn't good enough to make the Ottomans last. It was the Arabs were a significant reason why the Ottoman Empire fell apart. The Arabs, they wanted out.
Yeah, they had their own kingdoms and things like that. They were trying.
Yeah, I mean, supposedly the original rulers that were put in power of the new Arab kingdoms post World War I, they were supposedly direct descendants of Muhammad, which no European Muslim could claim that.
No, not at all. And so the fall of the Ottoman Empire during World War I, right? That's only 40-ish years from oil being discovered in the Gulf states.
Yeah.
Like if it didn't happen then, it was gonna happen once they got oil rich.
Yeah. And the big reason why, I mean, the British and French specifically got involved with helping the Arabs out was the Ottomans had been the big dick on the block for so long, it became part of these countries' policies to asymmetrically dismantle them. So, that you got, he's one example of many people that were involved with it, but you have a guy like T.E. Lawrence, they send a guy over there like that and, get guerrilla with them, We'll support them with our naval gunfire and some of our modern weapons, but this is a good opportunity to dismantle the Ottomans because we've just hated them for so long. We have to end them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, T.E.
And
Lawrence.
the Arabs want to end them, so we'll help the Arabs out.
Yeah.
And then we'll screw them over.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
That's played out so many times throughout history.
Yeah.
It really
It's
has.
how the U.S. still operates.
Yeah, 1,000%.